Hey everybody, this is the Roaming Prepper. It's good to see you back, and I wanted to share something with you as far as how I plan trips. Now, if you watched one of my early videos when I first started this channel, I kind of talked about doing some homework when you go on trips, kind of gathering intel. I'm going to share with you what I'm going to do for this particular trip, and I'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, and thanks for coming and checking out the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have a chance to do so. Again, I try and make a lot of my topics relevant and practical for day-to-day life. So I've got a trip planned, and I'm trying to make sure that I know where I'm going and what I'm getting into. So there are a few things, especially like we have pets, we have dogs, so one, there are two aspects. One, you want to know where you're going. Two, you want to be sure everything at home is squared away and taken care of. So what I'm going to do today is just kind of talk about the pre-work I do, and it doesn't take very long before I go on a trip. There's the first thing, because we have critters in the house, we have our pets, you want to make sure that your dog sitter, whoever's taking care of your pet, if you're bringing them to a pet play resort or something like that, you want to be sure that they have all the records. And this is what I set up here. So there's a packet here. It's the physical shot records of each of the dogs, as well as the information to the vet clinic where they are currently going. Now this is important, especially if you have a pet sitter who's coming to your house, because if you bring them to a kennel to be taken care of, they usually have a vet on staff or affiliated with the kennel. If they're taking care of your pets at home, they may not know which vet you prefer, which one has the records. So much like people, make sure there's a physical copy for your pet sitter on your kitchen counter, so that that person will know if a pet gets sick, they get hurt, whatever may happen, they'll know which vet to call and who has the records of the pet. So also make sure you leave your food out and all that other stuff. I'm sure all of you who have dogs and dog sitters know what I'm talking about. So that's on the home front, right? You want to make sure that your critters are taken care of. Obviously, when you're making your trip itself, you want to make sure you're being taken care of. So how do we do that? Well, aside right now in everyday life, everything we do is digital, right? We do it on our iPhones, our iPads, our computers, tablets, whatever. We've become so dependent on it that we forget the value of having some paper copies. And again, as you can see, I'm a fan of having a paper backup of anything. So I actually make a packet. And what I include in the packet is 3 categories of items. So the first category is the reservations. I will print my hotel. I will print my airline. If you're renting a car, I'll print a car. And if you're doing any special events, if you have a bus tour or something oddball or a fishing boat, physically print those as well. Now the reservations for events are not as important as the reservations for where you're going to sleep, where you're going to eat, how you're going to get there and back, and how you're going to transport yourself around. But it doesn't hurt to have a hard copy, but if you don't, that's not as big a deal as making sure you have somewhere to stay in the event computers go down. Remember, nobody thought Texas would go dark for, almost a week. It can happen again. They just finished hacking the pipeline. Things go down. If you have a hard copy, you have not only a reference for those folks at the hotel to know who you are, but you also have legal grounds after the fact to say, hey, I paid for this, here's my proof, what are you going to do for me? So definitely make hard copies of all of that. The other thing I like to do, and this is just an example map, is make a copy of the local area. Specifically, in this case, I just pulled up a city randomly. Make a map of, or print out a map of the streets of the area you're going to be in. So if you're going to be in downtown Denver or downtown Houston, print a hard copy, a metro copy, whatever organization is local, so that you have something physical if you get lost while you're meandering about, you're sightseeing, or even if you're going from business office to business office and you get turned around, you may not be able to get an Uber. It serves two purposes. One, you know where you are personally, but two, in the event your phone dies, comms go down, whatever happens, you have a physical map to reference yourself. Not only would I print the city, if they have the larger area or any parks you may be in at the time, I would make a copy of that as well. If you have special medical needs, I would print a list of any clinics or medical facilities. For instance, my company insurance has a preference for certain pharmacies. So I checked online, there were a pile of them in these cities, so I'm not worried about it. But if you have a special need, for instance, dialysis, you may want to look in advance and see which dialysis facilities are in that area and physically print a copy in case your personal machine goes down, or if you're diabetic and you lose your insulin or you lose whatever meds you need, you have somewhere you can quickly reference, and it may or may not be on your phone, but you can call from the hotel. So again, copy of the local area as well as a map of the various places you're going to stay. Now, part 3 would be personal information. Now, I wouldn't put anything like social securities and stuff like that in a paper, but what I would do is go to your Outlook or your contacts and print out a physical copy of at least 5 or 6 people that you trust that they can contact in the event of an emergency. And when I mean they, either law enforcement, EMTs, or the hotel. So for example, I've got, my boss, my family doctor, and several relatives in different states who can be contacted in the event something happens to us on our trip. So, and if I go by myself, I leave a copy of this with the missus, as well as take a copy with me. Another thing, if you're going overseas, you may have to show proof of certain vaccinations, and nowadays that may include the Rona or evidence that you did have the Rona and you recovered. Either way, make sure you have a copy of that if it's necessary for you. Not an endorsement for or against vaccines. I'm just saying if you are going somewhere that requires it, it's a lot easier to have the paperwork up front than try and prove it on your cell phone later. Also, I would recommend, if your medical provider has preferred providers, affiliates. For example, if you have Health Insurance X and they have a preferred list of pharmacies, telemedicine, whatever, wellness, dental, vision, have those hard copies as well. If you lose your phone, it gets stolen, you have it handy with you. Now, by the way, this packet is also relevant for a bug-out bag. In your bug-out bag or in an emergency kit, if you have a get-home bag, whatever, it probably wouldn't hurt to have a physical copy of phone numbers and a physical copy of medical providers that your insurance will cover. In the event something goes down and you're on a business trip and you have to hoof it home, even if you're local but you're 20 miles away, you get sick or hurt, it doesn't hurt to have it. And lastly, once you're done with that, so you have this packet here, and you have the 3 components: your reservations, travel, hotel, your local maps, crime areas if you have a map for crime areas, and local contact numbers, and lastly, your personal information for your own reference or for the reference of a responder that may be helping you. Once you've got your packet done, I highly recommend make two. Now, why do you need two? Pretty straightforward. I keep one with me in my carry-on. I put one in my checked luggage with a lock. In the event they lose my checked luggage, or I get my carry-on stolen, or I lose it, either way, one of these should make it to my destination when I show up. Or you leave one with your spouse, your travel buddy, whoever's going with you. Okay, so this is how I do my pre-trip homework for any kind of visit to a place I don't know. Obviously, if I'm going to a city, I have friends, coworkers, colleagues, clients who all know me. I know the area. I may not go this in depth, but if I'm going somewhere new, I will do so just to cover myself. That's all I got for today. I hope this is helpful. Again, do some homework, take some time to get ready before you make those trips. So, heaven forbid something happens, you're squared away and you have some resources to lie on. In any case, this is the Roaming Prepper. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and be safe. Godspeed if you're on the road or traveling. Don't forget all our people deployed. Those men and women are the best of us, and we got to keep them in our hearts. Until next time, take care and help someone out if you can. See you next time.